Today is October the 17th, 2017. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University, and along with me is Stacy Delano, did I say that correctly? With the Stillwater Public Library, and we are in Oklahoma City to speak with Ella Mae Ward Reese. Ella Pearl. Mm-hmm. Where did they get May? Okay. Ella Pearl Ward Reese. Uh-huh. Okay. And this is regarding the Washington School there in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So thank you for having us today.
You're welcome.
Let's begin with having you tell us when and where you were born.
Yes, I was born in Haskell, Oklahoma, just outside of Muskogee. And
What year?
1931.
1931.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have siblings?
I had one sister. She's deceased.
Older, younger?
Older. She was also born in Haskell.
Okay.
In 1929.
29?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the family doing there in Haskell?
My dad, Lee Ward, was a teacher in Haskell at that time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long he taught there, but I think he moved shortly afterwards to Bristol, Oklahoma.
Getting a little closer to Stillwater.
Uh-huh. We moved quite a bit. We were both really young in Bristol. I was about 5 years old. Bristol, from Haskell to Bristol. I know I was 5 years old because I hadn't started at school. And we stayed there. I don't know how many years, but after that move, we moved to Drumright, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Where he was principal there. He wasn't a principal in Haskell. He was a principal in Drumright. He just kept trying to move up. So we stayed in Drumright about 2 years before moving to Stillwater.
Okay, do my math. That would put you in the mid-40s, 1940s when you got to Stillwater. Mm-hmm. If you were 5 when you moved?
I'm not sure of that because...
what grade were you in?
When we moved to Stillwater?
Mm-hmm.
I think must have been in about the 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. And so that's where we stayed until I finished high school. And my sister finished high school 2 years before I did. And then she went to Lincoln University. And of course I followed her. I had to do everything she did. So whatever she majored in, I majored in, which was business. We both majored in business. Then it was called business education.
And what university was that again?
Lincoln University, Jefferson City, Missouri. Capital of Missouri. Mm-hmm. So it was a very nice school. And we both graduated from Lincoln University.
And what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1950 from Lincoln. 1953, I think it was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did your parents come up for graduation?
Oh, yes. They came up before graduation. They came up to my sister's graduation and then came back to my graduation. But they had been there to visit us while we were still there.
Okay.
And,
why pick there? I mean, why did she pick there?
well, we had some close friends
Okay.
from Bristol, the Smiths. And their children had gone to Lincoln before either of us. And they were older than we were. Because my dad had planned that we go to Wilberforce University in Ohio. But his plan didn't work out. And so we just followed our friends on to Lincoln. And it was a good follow. It was a good school for us. And we met other friends that we knew. And we rode the train. Caught it in Perry. Because, there wasn't a train in Stillwater. So we caught the train every year in Perry. We'd go back to school, come home for Christmas. We didn't come home for Thanksgiving. But we had to come home for Christmas because the dormitories were closed.
Well, did you room together?
Oh, no. She lived in a different dormitory because she was 2 years ahead of me, see. So she lived in a junior and senior dormitory when I went there. I lived in the freshman dormitory And the girl that was my roommate and I became best friends, and we still are. We rode the train together. She wasn't too happy because she didn't want to go to college. I was very happy. And so that's where we first met, on the train in Perry, going to Missouri.
And what was her name?
Her name was Queenie Ackerman,
And where was she from?
Lawton, Oklahoma.
Lawton.
And so we had never met, but her sister and my sister were already at Lincoln, so they were taking their little sisters back to school. Okay, and
Do you remember what you packed in your suitcase?
we had trunks.
Trunks, okay.
Yeah, I packed clothes, all our clothes. Lincoln was a dressed up school. All the kids just wore real nice clothes, so we had nice clothes. And Mother bought our clothes at Bonnie's. Do you remember that store? It was on Main Street. It was
Bonnie?
Bonnie's. Very nice store, expensive, nice clothes. And I think that man's name was Mr. Grisham that owned that store. And he sold us the best of clothes. Mother had a credit account and we just bought clothes.
So she didn't make them? Did she sew any?
She sold some while we were small. She sold like, Easter clothes when we were little. She did. She really did. Yeah.
So would you have one trunk or two? Did you take one trunk or two?
Oh, I took a trunk and a overnight, like, suitcase.
Okay.
Because when I got to Lincoln, it was so crowded. They had sold my room. I'd given it away to somebody else, so I didn't have a room. Several of us didn't have room. So we stayed in what was called the pajama room. And it was like an attic room. It was real large. It was nice, but we had to lock up everything, when we changed clothes. All of these students came from different states that we didn't know. So we stayed there for about 10 months maybe. I'm just guessing now. But we still liked it because we were happy to be in college. So we stayed in the pajama room and met lots of other girls from different states, like I said. And then when our rooms became available, then they moved us out of the pajama room.
Well, how did you pay for your tuition? Did your father?
My dad paid for all of our tuition.
You didn't have to have a part-time job or anything?
No, I wanted a part-time job because he kind of limited the money he sent us. But no, I didn't have a part-time job my first year. I got a part-time job, I think it was probably around my junior or senior year, working in an office because I majored in business, both of us. And we were real good typists. We learned to type at Washington School. And then we went to Langston in the summer with Mother. She was going to summer school there. And so we took typing again. And we were averaging about 120 words a minute. We really
Pretty
was.
good, yes.
Yeah. Anything else?
I did about 80.
That's good. That's good.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Where did your dad get his degree, his education?
He went his first school after he went to high school in Muskogee, manual training in high school.
Okay. I know where that is,
Okay,
yes.
he graduated from manual training. And then he went to Wilberforce, Ohio.
Okay. That's why he wanted you to go, okay.
Right, And I think Wilberforce had a strike or something, there's some trouble then that cut us out of that. And he didn't graduate from Wilberforce. He came back home after 2 or 3 years and finished from Langston.
What did he major in?
Excuse me. I don't know.
I mean, what subject did he teach when he first got out?
Oh, when he first got out, he taught math, history. He was real smart.
So maybe
Bragging, but he was. He was a good mathematician, and he is a good history teacher. So
Maybe just a general education.
Yeah,
Courses
probably
then.
back then.
And did he have a master's as well?
Oh yeah, excuse me. He got his master's from Greeley, Colorado.
Well, that's a long way.
Yeah, he went to Greeley, and when he graduated, he sent for us to come to his graduation, and we rode the train. Mother, my sister, and myself. That was a nice trip. And so yeah, he graduated from Greeley, Colorado.
Do you remember about how old you were at that time?
I don't
What year he
remember how
graduated?
old I was, but I remember him going there, and I remember going to Greeley on the train.
And where did you catch it that time?
Perry.
Perry again?
Yep. Still had to catch it in Perry.
So he had gotten to Stillwater before he took time out to go to get his master's in Greeley?
He didn't take time out. He went during the summer.
During the summer.
Yeah, to work on his master's degree.
And he did that while he was in Stillwater?
Yes, He was still in Stillwater as a principal. That was the only school he worked in Stillwater until he went to North Highland. North Highland, I don't know. if
Highland
it's
Park.
Highland Park?
Highland Park.
Yeah, Highland Park. Sorry.
And when was that, roughly?
It was long after I finished high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was during the time of integration of the schools. And,
So in the 50s.
Yeah, so they was moved across town, and he loved it. But he loved Washington School. You know, he loved young people, and he worked hard with them.
And did they like him?
Yeah.
They weren't afraid of him?
No, he wasn't the type to be afraid of, but he knew that he was law and order. So
Or what did he use to discipline students with? Did he paddle?
yes, he paddled. He had a paddle. He didn't have to do it very often. They respected him.
Was it hard being the daughter of the principal?
Not for me, not at all, because I just wasn't afraid of anything. And then, of course, they talked about my daddy and called him names, so I invited him out outside of school to sell that. And no, they weren't afraid of him. They respected him highly. They still do. Some of them that I've ever known.
Would he ever bring some home? Other students home?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't remember him bringing other students home. He sponsored students to, at that time there was an interscholastic meeting for high school students at Langston. And he sponsored a lot of students to get that, and they did real well because they gave scholarships. I was one of them. And I won a certificate or whatever they called it then in oral speaking, which I'm not good at now.
Oh, you're doing great. A proud moment for the whole family.
Yeah, very much so.
Well then, what about your mother?
Mother was a housewife, a very good mother, and she didn't work until we went to college. So she was really a housewife. She kept us up. She cooked and cleaned and took care of the children.
And did she have an education?
She went to, she graduated from manual training, likewise.
Okay.
And then she went to Langston. I don't remember her graduating from Langston. I know she went because we spent the summers out there with her.
And where in Stillwater did you live?
We lived, when we first moved to Stillwater, we lived right across the street from Washington High School.
Okay.
It was a little house. There's a picture of it in that book over there. And we stayed there. It was a small house, 2-bedroom house. And then he started later on, I think after we finished, no, we had finished high school. He built that home in Stillwater on 10th Street. On 10th Street. 709. Yeah, Bernard was born then. And he built that house. It's still standing. And he was also responsible for seeing that a CME church was built right down the streets because he was a Methodist. And there were no Methodist churches for blacks in Stillwater.
You had a question about that.
We do have quite a bit because we haven't been able to get very much information about that church.
Mhm.
So, do you happen to recall how he was able to get the church started?
Oh yes, he started it. I don't know if we have a picture of it there, but he started it. It was built from ground. And it was a small membership, but the building was pretty nice size.
Do you remember some of the other family names of people who attended that church with you?
I really don't. It was a very small membership because most of the people, blacks, went to the Baptist church there. Hmm. And the Baptist church was closer to the school too. Uh-huh.
And so, do you happen to know when that church ceased to exist?
The Methodist church?
Mm-hmm.
It
Or-
was after I had left Stillwater.
And so you recall it closing?
I recall it closing, but I wasn't there. So I don't really know how long it was there. Mhm.
And do you recall your parents ever talking about like why it closed?
I'm pretty sure it closed because of the membership. You know, those people didn't hardly, when we went there, the membership was, I was in the high school by the Methodist church and I played the piano for church. But it was never a large membership.
Mm-hmm.
But he kept it going because he believed in it. Whatever he believed in, he stuck with it. Mhm.
Well, as principal, did he teach any classes?
Yes.
He taught math?
He taught math. I remember he taught algebra. I remember that. I know because I had math under him.
That was my next
I used to
question.
Count on my fingers. Yeah. He was a good teacher. He wasn't daddy. He was a teacher then.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you were close enough to walk.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, would you go home for lunch?
We did go home for lunch after he moved from the first house, but I don't recall going home for lunch when I was smaller. I just don't remember that. I'm sure we ate at school.
So what year did you graduate from?
1949. And my sister graduated in 47.
And when you were in school at Washington,
Mm.
it didn't have the wings built onto it
Oh,
yet?
no, no, that was part of the new school that he initiated and built.
So he initiated an expansion of the school.
Yeah, it was.
So what kind of did it look like and what sort of rooms did you have in the school before the expansion? Was there a gym or a cafeteria?
You know, I think there was a gym because that was Stillwater, Washington High School had good basketball players, championship basketball players, champions against Cushion, Oklahoma, and I don't know, remember the other little town. But yeah, there was a gym. But see, I don't remember attending the new addition to the school. I really don't.
When you were at the, you were at the kind of the smaller one
Yes, the main building.
though. About how many rooms would you say there might have been? Do you recall?
I don't know how many rooms, but I guess it wasn't enough for them to extend them,
Yeah.
you know. I'm just surmising, but no, I don't remember how many rooms.
Well, how many would be in your class, like one
That's what I was
class?
getting ready to tell you. When I graduated, in the graduation pictures in that book, there were only 6
Total?
in my graduation class. High school graduation.
With that small of a class, did you have like 11th and 12th together? Would they combine classes? No.
I don't think so.
And what was your favorite subject?
What was my favorite subject? Typing, I guess. That's not much to say, but it did pay off.
It did.
Yeah.
You know, Kenneth Murray also said that his favorite was typing and that you all had a wonderful typing teacher.
Oh, we did. Her name was Geneva Keys from Oklahoma City. And we thought she was well dressed, she was a teacher, and she taught us to type. Because we would stay after school or between classes and go, it was a typing room there. She was a good teacher. And she just recently passed, not too long ago.
And while she was teaching, did she live in Stillwater?
She did.
She did?
Yeah, she was Geneva Keys. Now, she married after she left Stillwater. I think it was after she left, because she died as Geneva Franklin.
Okay. And were you involved with any clubs or that sort of activity?
Yes, we were. We had lots of activities. He provided, he made sure we had activities.
Kept you busy.
Yeah, he really kept us busy. I don't remember clubs, but I do remember we had a very good home economics teacher, which I think she lived to be 100 or something. She just died not too long ago also. But she taught, and she taught us cooking, sewing, and serving, because we used to fix big dinners for the Board of Education and serve them formal dinners once a year. And she was such a good teacher. We sewed and made clothes, but we couldn't take them home until Christmas. Same thing with food. We made candy, cakes. She taught us to cook. But I didn't like sewing because we had to take out the seams, and they didn't do right. The seams didn't do right. But that turned me against sewing. I didn't like to sew.
Or where would you get your fabric?
Our parents bought it.
Did it? There was a fabric place in town?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Almost everywhere. Stillwater was a nice little town. I understand it had really grown.
When was the last time you were back?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been back since Bernard went to college at OSU. And we went to every game because he played in the band.
Okay.
And so we went to every game. And after he graduated, we might have gone back once or twice just to see the town.
So it's been a while then.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Well, I guess since we're talking about children, how many do you have?
That's it.
Just one.
child.
And he's an OSU grad.
OSU grad, yeah. He told us we took him to Lincoln University in Missouri to look it over before he finished high school. He didn't like it. He said he wasn't going to college. I said, well, you're going someplace, but you're not going to stay at home. You're going to college. But he was glad because he wanted to go to OSU. Because when he was little, when we were working on our master's degrees, he got to visit OSU, go out on the campus as a little boy. And my brother-in-law always took him out there to visit OSU. That's all he knew.
Indoctrinated him early.
Yes, yes, you did.
So you have a master's from OSU?
Uh-huh.
In what?
Mine is in elementary education.
Okay.
My sister's business. And my master's had to be elementary because I finished Lincoln in business, which meant it was a hard time for me to get a job. It would have been, but my father always made sure we had jobs. And what was his name? Business. Oh, I was teaching school here in Oklahoma City. No, I had started teaching school in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And then I went to Sapulpa and I taught school in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. My husband was in the military, and then when he got out, he got a job here in Oklahoma City at Douglas High School as a printing teacher. So that's when we finally got to work in the same town.
Stayed in
Did I answer your
education.
question?
Yeah, that's fine. What year did you graduate from OSU?
Ooh. That's a good one. Let's see. My first year out from Lincoln was 53. Went right on to OSU to work on a master's degree. So it must have been about 54, 55.
So it was still Oklahoma A&M at that
Yes,
point.
it was
At that
still
point.
on me.
At that point.
You're right.
Yeah, and that didn't change till 57, 58, somewhere through
Oh,
there.
yes.
So okay. Well, do you remember Nancy Randolph?
Oh, yes, I'm glad you mentioned Nancy's name because she lived with Mother and Daddy.
I was hoping you could tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that.
Oh, Nancy was a wonderful lady. You know, they named the dormitory after her out there. But Nancy, when she was the first black to enroll at OSU, I understand. And she didn't have a place to live because she could live in the dormitory. And when she went to school, she had to sit in a little room and look out the window. That's the way she went to school at OSU. So she roomed with my parents and lived with them and went to school. A lot of kids did. They didn't all room with them, but Mother and Daddy looked after those black students that came to OSU because he knew everybody all over the state of Oklahoma.
That was my question. How did they know about your dad?
Yeah, he knew a lot of people, and he had the personality. He wanted to make sure they did good. And so he invited everybody down there, and Mother cooked for everybody. So it was quite an experience. But Nancy, she's a very smart lady and a very determined lady. And she just died about 2 years ago.
And didn't she live in Sapulpa? She
was from Sapulpa. I taught school in Sapulpa. I loved that little town. The people were so nice and friendly, and they took care of you, you know. Back then, taking care of you as a black meant something, because you didn't have too many places to go, you know. I liked working in Sapulpa. I was teaching typewriting, shorthand,
So high
general
school.
business.
So high school.
High school, yeah. Yeah, Nancy was a very, very nice lady, and she participated in a lot of things.
Well, was she there at the same time you were home, or were you already in college when she was doing that? Let's see. I may know when she was there. She was there from 49 to 53.
See, no.
So you were already.
I finished high school in 49, and I finished Lincoln in 53.
So.
But I knew her from growing up because she stayed with some people in Cushion. They were principal and his wife. They kind of raised Nancy like, you know. And they were good friends to my parents, so we got to know Nancy.
And how would she have to walk from 10th, you said 10th Street to campus?
I don't know how she got there.
Yeah.
She probably did.
Probably did, yeah.
And didn't mind it. She just did whatever she had to do.
She opened the door for a lot of people,
Oh,
didn't she?
did, yes. And she kept on doing things for a lot of people.
Sounds like your dad did similar, opened the door
yes,
for a
he
lot of
did.
people too.
Yeah, yeah. He liked people. And he had friends wherever he went. You know, he just made a lot of friends. And he took us a lot of places, you know, in the state. So we got to know a lot of people also.
Okay. And we should probably back up and tell us how you met your husband.
I met my husband at Lincoln,
Okay.
my freshman year at Lincoln University. He is from Fulton, Missouri.
Okay.
That's not too far from Jefferson City. It's a small town, but it's a little college town. Winniewood College, you heard of that?
I've heard of
That's
that,
in
yes.
Fulton, and that's one school I remember from Fulton. But yeah, and he had to ride the bus from Fulton to Lincoln to go to school, high school every day. He rode the bus because they couldn't go to high school in Fulton. And so he graduated from Lincoln University. He loves Fulton, Missouri.
I'm surprised you're not living there then.
Oh, no. I don't like it. I didn't like it. It was a nice little town, but I didn't like it. It was,
And his degree was in education,
he majored in graphic arts.
graphic.
Because he taught printing at Douglas until he went to the Board of Education to go as a, he went to the board as a rotator consultant, vocational education consultant. And I also worked at the board as a learning center consultant, Title I. So we were working at the board at the same time.
And you mentioned that he was in the military.
Yes, he was in the military. He left school. When he graduated, he went right into the military because he didn't have the money to do anything else. And that helped him a lot, you know. And so now he's getting benefits from VA because he has dementia. That's why he's not in here, because he was a real talker. You would have enjoyed him being in here. But yeah.
I was well, it would have been after World War II, so Korean War or just,
Korean.
was it Korean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you were already married at that time?
Okay. So I think excuse me, I think he volunteered.
Okay.
You know, they were poor,
Yes.
little town in Fulton, and his mother raised he and his brother, and she did a good job. And
So 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
And did you have your wedding in Stillwater?
Yes, at my mother and dad's house.
Can you tell us about it? Kind of describe what you wore and any decorations and what happened and who
Well,
did
first
your
thing,
marriage?
Excuse me. My daddy wasn't for it, but he didn't talk, except he told that Bobby that you can't marry that girl. She's used to too much. He said, well, that's all right. She can get unused to it. So he made it his business, Daddy, to be away from home when I got married. He was working for Coca-Cola, so he went on one of their trips. And I got married at home in the house. And my uncle, my mother's baby brother from Muskogee, came and gave me away. He and his wife came to the wedding. And all of that was in Stillwater, in their house.
And what did you wear?
Oh, I wore all of the wedding stuff. I had on my white wedding dress and my veil thing, but, you know, we had pictures of that. I don't recall seeing them in that book. Did you, Vern?
I have some of them at my apartment. I didn't think to bring them.
And did you buy your dress in Stillwater?
Probably.
Now, you said that at that time your dad was working for Coca-Cola. Is that what you said?
Yes, at the time of the wedding. Yes,
And so was he working at Coca-Cola and principal at the same time?
Sure was.
And where did he work? Where did he work for Coca-Cola? Where did he?
Well, it was like he was a public relations person.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have an office. He worked out the home. And then on his off days, you know, school teaching, you have a lot of holidays. That's when he went on trips. And he did a lot for big meetings, you know, promoting Coca-Cola. But all of his office work was done at home.
Do you know what, like, was there a headquarters that he reported to? Was it one in Oklahoma?
I think so, but I'm not sure. I don't know where this one. I'm not sure because after I got married, I didn't recall too much about him, but he still kept his Coca-Cola job because we had a lot of souvenirs from Coca-Cola, trays, little bottles.
Yeah.
What else burned? Lots of things.
I told them
We
about
still
that.
have.
Coke the cooler.
And do you like Coca-Cola to drink?
I did until I was weight conscious.
A lot of sugar,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a lot of sugar. I haven't tasted the new Coke, have you?
It has an aftertaste, so,
Yeah.
but it'll
Yes,
it'll
yeah.
do in a pinch.
Yeah.
Well, did your dad feel bad that he'd missed your wedding later?
No,
No.
I don't ever remember him discussing. He treated my husband nice, just like it was his son. You know, that was just his personality. He didn't talk against it. He just said, "You can't marry that girl. She's used to too much." And he said, "Well, she can get unused to." So, no.
Well, did he spoil you a little bit?
I guess he spoiled both of us. You know, we obeyed him. You know, he was a good dad, and we did what he said do. You know, like he told us to go to school and don't get in no trouble. He didn't send us up there for that. More than that, he meant it. Because I got in trouble my freshman year.
Doing what?
Well, I didn't do it, but I was accused of a bunch of girls in the dormitory decided, it was just before midterm examination, that they were going to just make noise in the dormitory. And so I lived on the second floor, and this was on the third floor. And they went up there, and my best friend, who I rode the train with, said, "Come on, let's go up there, Pearl." I said, no, I'm not going up there. And she just kept begging. I said, "Okay, come on." Well, when we got up there, they started throwing bottles and stuff downstairs. And somebody, we think we knew who it was, told on us. They reported us Oklahoma kids. Oklahoma had a reputation up there. And so we were called into the dean, a woman who was very strict, very strict. She had sent letters to all our parents that we were going to get expelled from school. It was horrible. It was very strict. We couldn't do anything after we got to stay in school, which was good. We could only go to the library and the cafeteria.
For how long?
Oh, about the rest of the year. It was terrible. We didn't really do that, you know, but the Oklahoma kids were kind of, I guess, envied, you know, in Jefferson City. Because a lot of us were there. And we did good there, you know, and we looked good up there. And so I guess a lot of, this girl I think was from St. Louis that did that reporting. I don't even remember her graduating. But you know, it was a good experience.
And you had to tell your dad about it?
He got a letter. Yeah, he got a letter. He called me up. And we didn't have a telephone we could use in dormitory, so I had to go to another building to call back, and my sister went with me. And I was crying, and I couldn't talk to him, and so my sister told him, "She didn't do nothing, Daddy. She didn't do nothing." He told me, "I didn't send you up there to act like that," you know. He gave me a good talking to, and he had called the dean, because he knew one of the professors there. I can't think of his name. He was an English professor, and he called him. And so we got to stay up there. It was about 10 of us.
Pretty hard to have to call.
Oh yeah, that was hard.
You said that your dad was tough, but a really good dad, gregarious, friendly. What was your mom like?
Mother was quiet. She didn't do too much. She disciplined us, but she didn't discipline us as hard as Daddy did. But she was a nice, quiet lady. That's a picture right there.
So this is a great picture, and I'm doing a permanent display in the library of the history of Stillwater Public Library. And because the Washington School Library was a a branch for a while. We wanted to include her as one of the head librarians. So if there were any way I could get a digital image of that, I would love to use that in our permanent display we're making.
Okay. Can you take a picture of that?
How do you want me to do that?
Well, I'll ask you about this towards the end.
Do you remember her helping to get that set up, the branch library set up?
I do. I remember her working in the library. She started that before I finished high school. Because my sister had gone to college. And then she started working after that was the first job she had as a grown person.
The library.
Yeah.
And where did she come about getting so many books?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's all right.
I can't answer too many questions about mother because she, like I say, she was a quiet lady. She didn't have a lot of friends. She had friends, but she didn't do a lot of stuff. She cooked and cleaned and dressed us.
And took care of the library.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a good thing for us.
Good. So, I don't know if I have any more pictures of her, but whatever you need, we'll look for it. Like I said.
Well, at dinner time, would you discuss current events or how the day went or what?
Oh, yes. Dad had talked a lot about things going on, No television back then, you see.
Okay.
But he always took the newspaper and he was a vivid newspaper. Yeah. So he talked a lot about current events and things. I can't remember all of that, but that's the kind of thing he did. And we've had games at home. He bought games, so we had a lot of activities at home.
That was what I asked what you did for fun.
Yeah, we did. We had lots of games. He played games with us even after we went to college and came home for Christmas. We had games till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning because he didn't like to lose and he wouldn't let us win. So, yeah. And then when we were still in school, he took us out of town a lot because we had met other kids in different towns by going to the social activities like the basketball and football games. He would take us out of town to visit those children. And then we had a music teacher who was in Cushion, Oklahoma. He took us all the way to Cushion every week to piano.
That's neat too. So you play a little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I played with my kindergarten class. I taught kindergarten over here too.
That's fun too.
Yeah, it was nice.
Learning just seemed so important in your family.
Yeah. It is.
What did your dad's parents do? Your grandparents, and they must have instilled that love of education in him.
Yeah. All of my parents' relatives were scholars, I guess you might say. I didn't know too much about my mother's father. We went to visit him once in Fort Worth, Texas. Once to my recollection. But my daddy's people were all, his sister did a little of everything. She made hats and she did a lot of stuff. She was in Chicago for many years, about 40 years. And then she moved down here after 40 years in Chicago, got sick with Alzheimer's disease. And his oldest brother was on the railroad. He was a Pullman porter. I remember him very well because he just died several years ago. And then his baby brother was in the military. I don't remember too much about what he did. All of them finished school. And his baby brother's son just died about 2 years ago. We just buried him.
Did they stay in Haskell or did they move?
No.
Your grandparents?
They stayed in Muskogee.
Muskogee.
My grandfather ran a grocery store, an emporium in Muskogee. I remember it very well. We always spent summer with him in Muskogee. And then mother's 2 brothers, both lived in Muskogee. One was a principal. I forgot about that. Uh-uh.
Uncle Sherman, Uncle Herman
Herman
was
was a
superintendent too.
No, he wasn't a superintendent, he was a principal in Muskogee. OOHRP first. OOHRP. And then, all of them went to Langston on Daddy's side. Except my Uncle Sherman, the oldest one. He stayed on the railroad until he retired. But yeah, they pushed for education.
Had they been born in Oklahoma or had they come in from
No,
somewhere?
mother and daddy were born in Van Alstyne, Texas. Have you heard of it? No. Well, but they were both born in Van Alstyne, Texas. I don't think they knew each other then because I think they met in Muskogee at manual training.
That's interesting
What
to
a
have that
coincidence.
connection.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Uh-huh. And I don't know where the others were born. I really don't. Because mother's two brothers, her youngest brother had made it real well in the state because he was a principal in OOHRP and Muskogee. And then he was a Grand Master for the Masonic Lodges until he died.
He had like 30,000 members in Germany. And
Yeah,
I got
he
to
had
go
a
with
big,
him to Germany one year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does that answer your question?
It does.
Do you remember visiting Bowley any? Or did you have a reason to visit Bowley?
I don't remember Bowley until I got grown.
Okay. I mean, they have the Masonic temple there too. I thought maybe
Oh, they
that
did.
that was
No, see, this uncle became Grand Master after I got grown.
okay.
But he did real well. He was well known and he would, in summers or when he was off, he attended all his conventions that he had to go to.
What were you going to
Well, looking through your scrapbook, I saw the picture of you were your homecoming queen. Will you tell us about that? Do you recall?
I don't remember too much about it. It was a little school, little town like, and it was a big deal for us.
And it was while you were in
At
Stillwater.
Washington School. Yeah.
And at that time, did they play their games right across from Washington, the school?
There was a stadium right across the street from the school. Because I used to have the kids to meet me in, I have to laugh myself, in a football stadium because I was always taken up for my dad, as kids. And they would call him names and stuff, and so I was ready to fight. And so I said, meet me after school. And I would meet them. And I was the only one on my side. My sister would go home and tell her mother, Pearl's out there fighting, mother. And there comes mother with her switch. So, yeah, the stadium was right across the street. It's torn down now.
Were there just bleachers, or was it like walls, or just bleachers?
It was just wooden bleachers, if I recall. Yeah, but it was a big stadium and it had a stockade fence around it.
And do you remember your best friend through school? Did you have a best girlfriend?
Oh, I had a best girlfriend that I haven't forgotten until this date. Her name was Dolores Sykes.
Sykes?
Sykes, S-Y-K-E-S, Dolores. And we lived next door to each other. We could raise up our window and holler at each other. And we were in the same grade. We skipped down the streets together, and we were dear friends. And when we left Stillwater, where did I say we were? Bristol. That's where we were friends. Mother and Daddy had to bring her with us to Drumright to stay a while because she was so upset. She cried and cried and cried. Her daddy was a policeman, and he got killed in Bristol. So, yeah, she was. And then the other friend we had was the Smiths, the two sisters that went to Lincoln before my sister and I. Okay, they were real close to our family, very close, their mother and father. And their father was a principal and their mother was a teacher.
And who were your best friends in Stillwater?
Oh, I really didn't have a best friend in Stillwater. We didn't, they didn't like us in Stillwater. You know, I guess we didn't fit in very well, so we never did. That's why we didn't go over there much after we left. It might have been because Daddy was a principal. And I think we might have been the only, I'm not sure, principal that had children to come there. But they were principals before Daddy, I remember that, but we just didn't fit in very well in Stillwater. We had some friends, like we had some guy friends, I mean young, not courting type. We had, because one family lived out in the country, they had a big farm, and they always invited us out there. They had boys, and we were really good friends. I think one of the older boys still lives in Stillwater.
Would it be Artie Smith?
Oh, RT. Yes, we called him RT.
Oh, you called him RT?
I think that's the same one Slade.
Oh, no, the Slade family.
You
was
said
different.
Smith.
Yeah.
No, the Slade family. His name was Richard. We called him RT Slade. I think he lives in Stillwater now because he's called us. And another one was Lincoln Slade. But they had all boys. They had some girls, but they never did live there while we were there. So we really didn't have any buddy girls.
Well, it's good to have you had a sister so close in age.
Yeah.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have boys that you dated during high school?
I know, I never did.
Dad probably wasn't too
no.
keen on it.
No, not until I went to college. I kind of tried to, slip and cord a little bit. But no, didn't fool around too much then.
Well, were you allowed to venture out by yourself very often in Stillwater? Like to go to town or
we'd go
something?
like to the movie theater, which we didn't have but one movie, and we had to sit upstairs. There were 12 seats for blacks, and that's the only place we could go to the movie. And we could walk to town. Nobody bothered you back then.
And when you say to town, do you mean downtown?
Downtown, uh-huh.
Do you remember any other businesses downtown that you like to go to, or that your parents would go to?
Other than Bonnie's,
Yeah.
we loved Bonnie's. It was air conditioned. And yeah, we loved that. Yes. Did we have any other places we visited?
Yeah.
There
Was
was
it-
another store that we used to go in when I was little too.
Yeah.
I remember Bonnie's, but I can't remember what the other store was called.
Cats.
Cats.
Oh, uh-huh.
Cats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Has it been there since the
Yeah,
very, very early
Yeah,
1900s?
it's not there now, though.
It's not there.
And then Central Drug on that corner, Good Seas drugstore on the corner of 12th, I think it was.
The door was on the corner, wasn't it? The door was on, went into the corner of the door.
See, you remember more than I do.
The Hallmark, what became the Hallmark, that was on the corner there, yeah.
Were there places you couldn't go besides the theater?
Oh, yes. They had a lot of, we called joints down there in the community we lived in. No, we better not be caught in that. And then there was a church we were allowed to go to. It was a homeless church, where they dance. We loved to go to that, but we weren't allowed to. And we would go down there and peek through the windows when they were having church.
And what kind of church did you say it
It was a
was?
holiness church.
Oh, uh-huh.
Holiness church. They have those now. I don't know about Stillwater, but that's where they dance and go.
As a person of color, though, were there places where you didn't get to go into, like restaurants or what have you?
Yes, there were. Like I said, to go to the theater,
Yeah.
we had to go upstairs where there were only 6 seats. I don't remember, I just don't remember too much about color back then, you know.
I've heard some other people say that it's just not something that was very prominent
No,
or spoken
no,
about that
no,
much. Was that your experience?
Yes, it wasn't discussed at home at all, you know, we knew what we could go to as far as color was concerned. And what we weren't supposed to go to, and we just didn't go. We just didn't go.
Did you have any friends who were white or acquaintances?
I think, I don't remember.
Don't remember
I
that.
don't remember that.
And
My
we were,
dad did. See,
and we were trying to figure out whether anyone remembers any separated like water fountains. Do you have any recollection of separate?
I knew
drinking
about it,
fountains?
but I don't remember, you know, signs and things
Yeah.
like that. I'm sure there were, but I don't remember. You know, we were kind of sheltered.
That's the word I hear a lot, yeah.
Well, was your father still principal when they integrated the schools?
I'm pretty sure.
I just wonder, and you were already gone by then,
Yeah, I
though.
was gone. See, I was gone when he went to North Highland.
Okay.
Highland Park. It's a North Highland, yeah, that's right. It's in Highland Park School.
Okay. I just wondered if he had anything to say about issues that were,
If he did, we did discuss it. You know, we weren't taught to be, what should I say, prejudice or, it just didn't come up.
Yeah.
You know, in the home. So we just knew what was what.
can I ask my question?
You should.
I always like to ask, did you have chickens?
Oh, yes, I'm glad you asked that. We had chickens and pigeons and I had a pig somebody gave me. This is my husband. God be his name.
You raised chickens?
Daddy raised chickens. He raised pigeons.
Pigeons?
Yes.
Well-
He had a fence in the backyard and it was covered with that kind of wire where they couldn't get out. He had pigeons. He had chickens. And a lady gave me a pig or something. And
Really?
Yeah. And he raised it till it got grown and then he killed it and I cried. But yeah, we had a lot of that kind of stuff.
Well, what would he do with the pigeons?
They were pets.
Pets.
I don't remember feeding any pigeons.
Well, would you eat the chickens?
Oh yes.
Whose job would it be to
It was it was Daddy's job, but when in the summer he had gone to Wilberforce to school. And my mother was very delicate, like my sister. They were delicate. You know, they were really ladies. And so one day she wanted to have chicken for dinner. But she said she couldn't kill it. She didn't know how to kill it. I said, I can do it. So we went out there and caught the chicken. And I started ringing and ringing. I didn't know you had to pop that neck. And the neck kept getting longer and longer. And I started to holler. And then I threw him down, and my next door neighbor saw me, and she came over there and popped the neck. But that was the only time I tried to kill a chicken. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Daddy liked to do things, you know. And so he gave us plenty of experiences.
Well, I'm curious, did you call the supper or dinner?
It was
Like
dinner, I think.
Was it dinner? And then what would the noon meal would be called?
Lunch.
Was it lunch?
And breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah, my daddy always had to have breakfast. He didn't leave home without breakfast. Even when I was carrying Bernard. And he grown. he still ate, he had to have his breakfast.
And what would that be?
Eggs, bacon, coffee, and toast.
Not biscuits.
No, Mother didn't. I don't remember her making too many biscuits. Because I never did learn how to make biscuits.
Well, what was the favorite thing that she fixed that you liked?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
When I came home from college, I wanted fried chicken.
But you didn't have to go kill it.
No, I didn't have to kill it anymore. That was an experience I'll never forget. It was horrible. To, keep wringing that chicken and that neck didn't ever come off. Oh, my goodness.
Well, if she fried chicken, what would you have with it?
Good fried chicken.
Mashed potatoes
Oh,
or?
Yeah, we might have had mashed potatoes. We always had some kind of fresh greens. We had lots of vegetables because he always had a
At the
garden.
garden. Okay.
And we always had lots of vegetables. And so it probably was something that came out of the garden. He raised most everything we ate.
Dad had a big garden.
Even after they moved to Oklahoma City, he had a huge garden because they had a real large backyard out on the west side of town. And he grew watermelons, cantaloupes, vegetables, everything.
On just based on my math, so you would have been in Stillwater during wartime, during World War II.
I'm pretty sure.
Do you have any recollections about shortages or things that you had to do during the war?
Was that during the Depression?
Well,
Sort of.
Sort of.
at the beginning, I guess,
Yeah.
and then at the, I know that they sold war bonds in downtown Stillwater. But I wondered if you recalled anything about like not being able to buy certain things or
Ration.
rations.
I remember rations. But yeah, I remember when things were rationed. I was a little girl, and so I guess it just didn't sink in too much because we never did do without anything. Everything. We had plenty of everything.
Had everything you needed.
Even toys for Christmas. Because he worked lots of jobs besides the Coca-Cola job, and he never quit teaching. He drove an ambulance, a mortician.
In Stillwater?
Well, that might have been in Bristol.
Mm.
And then he delivered ice when people still used ice boxes for a sideline job. And I don't know what all day he did, but he always had other jobs besides teaching because he couldn't make enough money to live comfortably. He made it work, and he saved a lot because he bought a lot of houses in Stillwater.
Did he
Uh-huh.
have properties?
Yes, and even after we left there, he owned property.
And so he would rent them. Were they in the same area,
Yes.
the same neighborhood?
Yeah, most of them on 9th Street.
Mm-hmm.
But, you want to say
They
something?
were on 9th, and then there were some right across the street from their house in Stillwater. There was, I think, I remember like 2 or 3. I think they were duplexes, weren't they?
Yeah, and then it was one on the corner because he moved his dad, grandpa in that house down there, remember, on the corner.
And do you recall, because you would have already left Stillwater, but you'd mentioned the floods. Do you recall them much about the flood? Did you
Yeah.
happen to be there when it
Yes,
happened?
I was there. I was a little girl, and it flooded so high they had to bring boats down there to get the people out. But we weren't in the water, but I got in the boat. And Mother just had a fit. She was just hollering, Ella Pearl, you come back here. I was in the boat. That was fun to me, That's how the school was flooded, too. That was another thing.
That's how what?
Washington School was flooded.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now that I've heard about the floods of like 52, 56, and 59.
Yeah.
So then there would have been one in the 40s. Then
Yes,
you're
this
saying
was before the 50s.
a huge flood in the 40s. Then.
Yes, big flood. Uh-huh.
And so the school was badly flooded
Yes,
in the
the
40s.
school was badly flooded. I recall that. Because that's where all the water was. They called that the bottom.
The bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of Highlanders and Lowlanders.
Yeah.
But have you heard that too?
Yes.
You did?
Uh-huh.
And were you a Highlander or a Lowlander?
Well, we were a Highlander at one point. I don't recall it flooding in the lowlands when we lived down there. But we were in the Highlanders because he moved us up there on 10th Street.
Uh-huh.
And that was Highlander, right?
It was, it was like backwards, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the lowlands didn't flood, but the highlands did sometimes flood.
Are you from Stillwater?
I am not from Stillwater, but I've been here about 20 years now. Yeah. So, what was your dad a principal at the school at the time?
Mm-hmm.
And did you have to stop going to school for a long period? What happened while
I
the
don't
flooding?
recall having to stop school. Like, I think I probably would have remembered, but I don't recall. They cleared the water out pretty fast down there. Most of the black people lived there down at the bottom.
And do you recall like a park out past where the school was? I've heard a couple of people reference a park further past 12th Street. Do you
We
recall?
had a park we went to, I think it was called the Fairgrounds Park, I think, but that was, oh golly. Yeah, that was a park that we could go to.
That was close by though.
Not too close.
Oh.
See, because if you can think, we lived down, and then that's as far you could go back that way, and then you would have to go across. It was kind of like a square,
Uh-huh.
and that's where the majority, like, I think blacks live all over town now.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard of.
Yeah.
No, not while I was there.
A very defined area.
Yes. Uh-huh. But it was a good experience in Stillwater, and we never were lonesome. You know, I had everything to play with. We used to skate in the street, we used to play baseball in the street, and I was a hard player.
Did you have a paved road to skate on?
I guess we had something, because I remember skating. I wore out several pairs of skates. I don't recall. It's funny how things just leave you, isn't it? It has to be something definite that you can hold on to.
But your mother coming after you with a switch, though.
Yeah.
you
It was
remembered.
Yeah, because it was just hollering.
Would you have to get your own switch sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
Real kids. Did you?
I did too.
Yeah.
If it wasn't big enough, you had to go back and get another one.
Yeah. Mother didn't do too much whipping, because I tell you, Daddy hung his razor strap on the doorknob. That's just a reminder. But he never did whip us very much. I recall maybe one time, and it wasn't a beating like people talk about now. But we didn't take chances on him at all.
You probably give you the look, and that was enough.
Yeah, like we do now in school. But you can't even give kids a look nowadays. They just, I don't know.
So you taught school until when did you retire?
I retired in 08, didn't I? I've got a bracelet with my retirement on it.
It would be 12 years ago.
12?
Oh no, it's longer than that.
You retired at
20 years.
55.
55.
Okay.
Age 55.
Age 55. Okay.
You
Yeah.
retired as soon as you could.
As soon as I could. Yes, I did. I first put in for my retirement and here in Oklahoma City, and then the superintendent changed his mind and made a different rule for retiring because they said we could retire at 50 plus 30 to equal 80. We could retire. I put in my retirement. Then, for some reason, he changed it or something. I don't know if he could change it. It was a state law. And so I went and withdrew my retirement slip and tore it up. I said, I'm not going to retire. And then kept on messing around with the retirement till I just went back and got it and filled it out and retired.
Said, I'll see you later.
Yeah. But then after that, another coworker of mine and I formed a learning center. Because reading was not just a problem now, it was always a problem. So we opened up a private learning center here in the city. She had a rent house and turned it into a center. It was called I Can Learn Center. And it was very successful. The kids went back to school, they passed their tests, achievement tests, they did much better. But we had to close it because of taxes. We had to pay a lot of taxes, you know, to operate it, which we paid and we had to. And then after that, I started tutoring right here in my house. And the parents brought the children to the house. I just turned one of my rooms into a little station. And we did real well.
I think your father rubbed off on you.
And Mom.
And
Yeah.
Mom. And Mom, but
He did a lot of rubbing.
Yeah.
He did. No, it was no failure. You know, he didn't discuss. I don't remember kids failing back then like they are now. I just don't remember it.
Well, I mean, everybody in the community knew everybody.
Yes, right.
And
Uh-huh.
if something happened at school, your parents knew before you got home,
Oh,
probably.
yeah, they did. Uh-huh. Parents, preachers, and everybody.
Yeah.
Because even though the Methodist Church was not very successful, I played the piano for the Baptist Church also. And whenever they traveled the choirs, I played the piano.
And did you sing with them? You could. Do you have a favorite song?
No, I
No.
did it.
You just did it?
Uh-huh. I did everything they asked me to do.
And did you have a bedtime at 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock or a certain time?
You know, that's a good question. We didn't ever have a bedtime. When we lived in Bristol, we lived right across the street from an AME church. And so we went to AME Sunday School. We went to Baptist Church, my sister and I. And we went to CME League, I forgot what they got, Everett League or something. So we went to all those churches, you know.
You covered all your bases.
Yeah.
Bedtime. I was asking you
Oh,
what
the
the
bedtime. No, we didn't have a bedtime. And when we were small in Bristol, a lot of people would come to church from the country, you know, because they had church all day long in Baptist church. And they would come into town. I'll never forget that lady's name, was Miss Peavy. She always came by the house before she went into church to see if my sister and I had gone to bed. And we hadn't gone to bed. But when we saw her coming, we ran and jumped in the bed and covered up till she left. You know, like what they say, the neighborhood was your boss too. And so, yeah, the Peavies, I'll never forget them. She came by to see if we were in the bed. And as soon as she left, my sister and I got up. We didn't have really strict restrictions like that.
But you didn't get in trouble either.
No.
You didn't do things to get in
We
trouble.
didn't do things, you just didn't get in trouble. Very few kids did. Because everybody bossed you.
Well, what were some of the other holidays, like you've mentioned Christmas? Did you celebrate July 4th or Halloween or
Yeah, we
anything like that?
celebrated July 4th. I got my hands burned every July the 4th. Every July the 4th. Daddy would buy us firecrackers. And then he would, supervise what he thought. But I would get those firecrackers and sneak behind the house and light them. And they didn't go off, and I'd go pick them up. They went off in my hand.
And did you tell someone or did you keep
They
it
knew
quiet?
Uh-uh,
Oh,
because I started hollering.
So you got
Yeah,
caught
I
then?
got caught. I wasn't bad, but I was never afraid of whipping.
Yeah.
I just,
Or given one, it sounds like either.
uh-uh.
You're ready to take on the people
Yeah.
who said bad things about your
That's
dad.
right. I took up for my daddy. So they left us alone after a while because we were new in town. I suppose they were just trying us out. And I guess they were afraid to bother us.
Tough. Kind of tough.
It was tough, but you know what? It really made you. It made good persons out of you. When you left home, you knew what to do and what not to do.
It's true.
And you knew that you were supposed to go to school. So, when you grow up in an environment, you either adjust to it or you get in trouble. I guess. We never got in that kind of trouble.
Neither one of you.
Neither. No, my sister never did hardly get a whip. She was a good girl.
And you had a few.
Just a few.
Just a few.
I wasn't really bad. I just was playful, mischievous. My sister said she read a lot. She stayed in the house and read a lot. She was smart. She wasn't playing type, like just playing all the time out in the street. We did a lot of playing. My dad had a fish pond in the front yard every year. And when the fish died, we would get them out and have a funeral over them, bury them in the ground,
Yeah.
He had a lot of entertainment for you.
And card games? Was it card games?
Yeah. We had card games. We played canasta. We didn't play bridge then. He did. I play bridge now. And he had all kind of board games. He loved the games and he played with us.
Did you do Monopoly?
Yes.
And that was probably one he didn't want to lose at.
Yeah, he didn't want to lose at any of them. When we came home for Christmas holidays, he would play you all night long until he started winning. And then we would just be sleepy tired. But yeah,
He wouldn't let you win.
No, he wouldn't let us win.
What's one or two of your favorite memories of him?
I have so many memories of my daddy. He was a fun man. He talked to you. He told you what to do and what not to do. And I think everybody loved him. Everybody loved him, including my sister and I. He was just a fun man. I don't really know it. Because he played those games. He had to play games with us. He loved playing games.
Sound like he was a good role model.
He was. For all the children. All children, he was. The teenagers in Stillwater, he was a good role model. They all called him and came by to see him when they came back to town after they got grown. They did.
That's a good sign, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. And then they were nice to us after we got grown. I just don't think that was probably just a childhood jealousy, maybe. Because we never did fall out with anything.
You just have to get through, don't
Yes.
just get through it.
That's right.
He was also the founder of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity chapter at Oklahoma State too.
I read an article about him going to one of those national meetings. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in that article.
Yeah, it's in the article
Uh-huh.
too. Yeah.
And some of those alphas that graduated from OSU, they live here now.
Yeah.
One guy, Stanley Evans, they went to OSU, he and his wife, and Stanley did real well. He went to, where did Stanley go to college? I can't remember, but he was high in the Army. And he's back, and I think he was a lieutenant colonel. Does that sound right? And then when he finished college, when he was discharged, he got a job at OU after he went to law school. So they have done well.
You can track a lot of those successes back to your father, that tree.
Yeah.
Tree.
Yes, and if I had them over here, they would have a lot to tell too of their time in Stillwater with him.
So, did he retire when he was 65?
And then
Your dad? Or did he stay longer?
I think he stayed a little longer. I don't know. It's in one of those articles, I think, but I don't remember.
And where is he buried?
He's buried at Resurrection Cemetery here in Oklahoma City. He and my mother both are buried in what do you call it?
The vault. Not in the ground, but the
They-
building.
Were they living here in Oklahoma City when they passed away? They had moved from Stillwater to here.
We had Easter dinner together at their home. They lived in a house on the northwest side of town. He bought a house as soon as they moved. He paid for it. And he died on an Easter Sunday. We had all had dinner up to their house. We usually exchange Sundays having dinner together. And my sister was over here, and mother called over here and said, "Y'all better come quick, something's wrong with your daddy." And Bernard called the ambulance from here, but to come out there. When we got out there, he was almost gone. He had a massive heart attack. That's what he wanted. He said he didn't never want to suffer. He didn't want to suffer.
Go quick. So how old was he?
He must have been in his 70s. I don't know. Oh, it's in one of those articles.
Yeah.
We can look.
It's in one of those articles.
I just wondered where he ended up since he had been so many different places.
Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, this is what he planned when he retired. He was going to either move to Stillwater or Tulsa. My sister was in Tulsa and I was here, Oklahoma City. But they moved to Oklahoma City. My sister wasn't as outgoing as I was, I don't think. So this is where they wanted to live after retirement. And they moved here and enjoyed. They had a nice 4-bedroom home. And he had a garden, big garden.
Just wondered where he considered home. Would it be Muskogee or would it be Oklahoma
home.
City? Oklahoma City. No,
Well, when he lived in Oklahoma City, this was home.
was it?
But Muskogee was always home.
Okay.
You know, they never gave up Muskogee. All of his siblings lived in Muskogee.
And where do you consider home?
Right here.
Oklahoma City, not
Yeah.
Stillwater.
No.
Didn't live there
No.
long enough, I guess.
No, I only lived there, let's see. I finished high school there, so I think I was in the 5th grade when we moved there. So that was long enough.
7 or 8 years.
But I claim Stillwater as growing up in Stillwater. You know, I don't have any regrets about Stillwater. It's just that it was where it's just a time where we didn't have a lot of close friends.
Right.
You know, that didn't happen.
Well, it was hard to move as a child so many times,
Yes,
too. And your best buddy couldn't come with you.
No, she just stayed for a while and they had to take her back home. And you know, I often wish I could find her, find out about her.
We'll have to do some looking. We might
And
be
what
able
did you, her last name was Sykes, and what was her first name?
S-Y-K-E-S, Dolores.
Dolores.
What were her
Dolores.
parents' names? Do you remember her
Her
parents?
mother's name was Mabel.
Mabel?
I think her dad's name was Sam. He got killed. He
Okay.
was a policeman.
So it might be a little hard if her mother remarried or something, but we'll put Miss Detective on it and see what she can, see if she can find out.
Good deal.
We've-
You can find a lot of people on the computer.
Yes. That's not always good
No, it's
either.
not. No, it's dangerous.
But that was Bristow, right? You said
Yes,
Bristow?
Bristol.
Okay.
We've covered a lot. Is there anything else you want to ask? Anything else we need to add?
I don't think so.
Anything else you want to tell us that we haven't thought to ask?
No, I haven't thought of anything. Bernard finished high school here at Millwood.
Millwood?
And then he got his bachelor's degree at OSU, and he got his master's degree at Oklahoma City University. And he just grew up here.
And he knew his grandfather and
Yes,
it's
he knew
been a-
his both grandfather and grandmother.
I would go to Stillwater and stay during the summer sometimes.
Oh, for the summers.
He was a big golfer. I mean, big golfer. He loved it. And he and grandmother sent me to, forgot the name of the golf course, but they sent me to a golf course in Stillwater for lessons one summer. And I actually, I did it, and they had a little tournament at the end of it, and I came in second place.
I didn't know that.
Lakeview or Country Club? Lakeview, out north of town?
I think so.
Lakeview.
Lakeview.
And then there's Karsten Creek.
Did he ever get a hole in one? Did he ever get a hole in one?
Did he?
Hey,
He
that's
liked to fish too.
We like to fish too.
He had a fishing buddy over there, Mr. Slade. Same Slades that lived out in the country. They went fishing together.
where would they go fishing?
Probably in a creek someplace.
In a creek.
I don't really
Well, was Lake Carl Blackwell there then? I don't know.
Yeah,
Was it?
Lake Carl Blackwell was there because my husband was at Lake Carl Blackwell once doing a tornado in Stillwater on the lake.
Ooh. Put anchor down.
Oh, yeah. The more you talk, things just come back to you.
It does.
I'd not be talking this much.
You've done great. We've covered a lot. I've gone through my questions, so if there's nothing else you want to add, we'll say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
It's been nice having you.